married couples in the U.S. divorce, and that's the 6th highest rate in the world.
Here today to talk about some of the misconceptions that people might have about getting divorced is Adam Bernander, who is a partner and family law attorney at Herrling Clark Law Firm. Good morning.
Morning, guys.
Is there one common myth or misconception about divorce that you come across routinely?
I don't think there's one common one. There's many.
Okay.
But one that does come up quite frequently is people often think that at a certain age in Wisconsin that a child will be able to choose where they live if their parents are split up. I've heard 12, I've heard 14. I've even heard people say that they think if a child is 16 and they can drive, that then they get to choose. But the reality is that really you get to choose when you're an adult.
Okay. And if the placement of the child is shared, is child support waived, or how does that factor in?
That's another thing that people oftentimes misunderstand, I think. It's not waived. It's simply a different formula.
Is it possible for a spouse to deny or reject a divorce and say, I don't want to do this?
It isn't. They can certainly make the process more difficult and more expensive, but they do not have the power to simply say, I don't want this, so it's not going to happen. The judge only has to make a finding that one of them wants it to happen.
I've heard about alimony, I think, in probably every movie I've ever watched. Is that part of every divorce?
It's not. It's actually, that's one of the hardest things to predict in a case. It varies by counties even. So it could be different if parties were divorced in Brown County versus Outagamie County versus Door County. It's certainly a discussion in most divorces, but it's not a foregone conclusion in any divorce, I would say.
I'm going off script a bit because I see in the local moms groups a lot of times when someone is contemplating divorce, they're like, I'm just going to handle it myself. That kind of speaks to why it's important to be working with a professional like yourself, navigating this county by county, the paperwork, all the different questions that are out there. Don't try to do this on lawyers.com, right?
Right. Well, and a lot of times people will look online, they'll find what appears to be a very helpful resource, but it's from Illinois.
Yeah.
All those laws are going to be different with respect to divorces. Or people will talk to their friends who went through a divorce, which all makes sense.
Sure.
I certainly that people should reach out to other resources. But when they talk to them about what happened in their divorce, things could be very different. They could have been married for 15 years instead of 20. That changes a lot of things. Their kids could be 12 instead of 8. That changes things. One person could be self-employed versus a W-2 employee. That changes things. So.
And whether your divorce is amicable or maybe not so much, it can be kind of overwhelming. Can we just call you and say, here's what's happening, what do I do, can you help me? And you just sort of say, okay, here are your options, or do you just, where do we start?
That's the easiest way to do it. It's, really the first conversation I have with potential clients is nothing really specific. It's just general discussions about what is this potentially going to look like? And it obviously depends on a lot of factors, like what your spouse reacts or how they react. But yeah, that's usually how it works.
I think just talking to you too, it just calms your fears too.
Taking the emotion out of it, right? You're a
a
little bit of a neutral party. Let's talk a bit about the other areas of law that you practice. Certainly this is a major one, but what else can you guys help people with?
I personally only do family or divorce law, but our firm also has people who do personal injury law. We have business lawyers, we have probate and estate lawyers, and
Well, you'll find Herrling Clark offices in Appleton, Green Bay, Oshkosh, and Waupaca. You can reach them at 920-739-7366 or get started online at herlingclark.com. Thank you, Adam.
Great advice.
Thank you, guys.